Good evening, fellow leapers. How is everyone doing today? Hope
Very
all are
good
good.
Evening.
Very good evening, Akhil.
Yes, I think I can speak for all of us when I say it's a bit wet outside. It's very rainy right now. Hope that doesn't affect everyone here today in our live training session for Leap 3.0. So I'm just standing instead of Daryl, who will join us very shortly. But before we move on to the formalities of the meeting, I thought why don't all of us do a very simple exercise, something that we as Toastmasters are all very good at. I'm sure multiple answers are going to jump out, but I'll just save everyone the trouble. The answer for me is applause. The way we give applause to all of our members, right, to take up the stage, to exit the stage. But I want to do it a little differently today. So I request everyone to please unmute yourself for this exercise because we need to hear these applause. Now this is how we're going to do it. I'm sure I can see everyone prepping all 10 fingers for their applause. But the catch is I want us all to start with one finger. So please hold your dominant hand here and one finger here. I hope everyone's unmuted. Let's try to be as loud as possible. One finger. Not loud enough. It's only one finger. I understand. Let's go for two fingers. Can't hear anything. Can anyone hear mine?
No.
No? Okay.
No.
Then let's go with three fingers. Not loud enough, people. I want everyone to be as loud as possible. Four fingers.
Can hear?
Can you hear? Yes. With four fingers, we were this loud, but now I expect everyone to be the loudest as you can with five fingers. Thank you all so much. This is just a small energizer that I have planned before you
I
today.
just heard the sound of the mosquito bat, which sounds very loud.
That is good. That is good. Thank you all so much for taking part in this little activity. Before I hand it over to the lead chair for today, I would just like to inform you of a few ground rules that we follow in every leap session. Number one, I request everyone, I hope everybody is in a room where there is less noise, less distraction, and you have good internet connectivity. Number two, I hope everyone can please mute themselves, and you can unmute yourself when you are asked to speak in the session today. Number three, I hope everyone, all of you who have joined the call so far, please turn on your videos as all leap sessions are always engaging. So please turn on your videos as much as possible. And number four, if you haven't already, those of you who just joined us, please rename yourself as per the leap ID that was provided to you. Hope everybody has done that. And I can also see right now we are just 41 participants. We are expecting about 70. So those of you, if you can please reach out to your fellow groups and ensure everybody joins the call today. Are we good? All right. Now, just before we started this session, we all had some questions for our lead chair. One thing that really stood out to me is when you take on roles like area director, division director, one, it is quite challenging. It takes a lot of your time. You would assume that after you've done with your division director, you deserve a break, right? But no, not our lead chair. Our lead chair went on to the very next challenge, that is being the chair for Leap 3.0, to put together all of this, even the sessions that are coming forward in the next few months. To do all of this in just 2 months is remarkable. But that is the kind of person that she is. She is a sought after communication coach, and she has done multiple leadership roles in Toastmasters in Dubai as well as in our district 121. So let us all give a huge round of applause to our Leap 3.0 chair, distinguished Toastmaster Jyotika Shetty.
Thank
Over
you,
to you.
Akhil. Thank you. Let's unmute ourselves and give Akhil a huge round of applause as he's opening the meeting today for the very first time. Thank you, Akhil. Now, Akhil spoke about me being the division director and hyperactive, which was sort of, now I'm wondering when I actually retire and become a senior citizen, I need something to do, right? So I'm really wondering what is that I should take up at that time. So thank you, Akhil. Now, you probably are all wondering, where is the man of the hour, Daryl? Akhil started the meeting today, and you're probably wondering, what happened to Daryl? Is he going to come? So he also needs a break. He will be back. He will be back soon. But meanwhile, Akhil stepped in to open the meeting. So thank you, Akhil. Thank you very much. So warm welcome to all our leapers. Oh, Daryl is here. He says, I'm here. He sent me a message. So wherever you are, Daryl, good evening and a warm welcome. So warm welcome, dear leapers and mentors. Welcome to yet another session, but today it's not yet another session. It is yet another level in Leap 3.0. And I'm so happy because it's not easy to, keep up to the schedule. It's not easy to keep up to the commitment. I do understand 3 months is a long time. With your responsibility, with your regular job that you'll have come this far. So please don't hesitate to give yourself a pat on the back and say, hearty congratulations to all of you, but be proud of yourself and clap for yourself because I'm truly proud and the district is proud of you. It's not easy. We do have another more than 50% of our way here still there, but I think this 3 months has been enriching for me. I'm sure it's for you all as well. A lot to learn still, but a lot has been covered so far. So what we are getting into now is relational leader. The first 3 months was all about yourself, everything to do with yourself. So I hope you'll have prepped up, understood what it really takes to be a great or a self-aware leader. Now it's all about leadership, relational leadership, because leadership is not a lonely journey, right? You have people with you. You have to deal with the organization and operate within the organization. And everything that we're going to cover now, from now onwards, for the next 4 weeks, is going to be about organizational awareness. Today, particularly, is about Toastmasters as a leadership system. And that is the beauty about today's session, because today is the time when we bring Toastmasters together with Leap 3.0. So it's kind of a confluence, two organizations coming together. And if you actually look at it, Toastmasters is an excellent organization. It's been around for 100 years. So there's something right that they have done. More than 149 countries, efficiently run, and that there's a lot of learning itself there. So today specifically, we're going to cover a lot of things that are interesting. I will not talk about it. I'll let the facilitator talk about it. But understand that this month is everything going to be about organization, how to function within the organization, how to resolve conflicts, and understand how the entire flow works, how the decisions flow within the organization. I know some of you are already, or most of you are already working and understand how organizations work. But probably this month is going to be a different perspective that you're going to gain. So I wish you all the best. And to start with, we have a facilitator whom I know not for 8 years this time, but for much more than 8 years. I know him for at least 10 years because we together were in District 105, which is now District 127, done a lot of work together. I have known him closely, and more than anything, he's a very, very good human being. It is my pleasure and honor to introduce our facilitator today. He is Distinguished Toastmaster Hariharan V, a highly accomplished learning and development professional with over 25 years of experience across leading global organizations, including Standard Chartered Bank, Saudi National Bank, Abu Dhabi Commercial Bank of Dubai, Kaplan Middle East, ADNOC, Emaar, Joy Alucas, Malabar Gold and Diamond, and SAP. He has built a strong reputation for design strategic learning roadmaps, creating impactful content, driving large-scale development initiatives, and measuring their success through powerful evaluation systems, including proof of value. Hariharan also holds multiple global certifications like Certified Keynote Speaker, Certified NLP Coach, Psychometric Analyst, Master Facilitator, Spin Selling Trainer, 7 Habits Trainer, TED Coach, and a proud Distinguished Toastmaster. He brings clarity, structure, and a deep passion for enabling people to communicate and lead with confidence. And let me add, he's also a district evaluation champion. Please help me in welcoming Distinguished Toastmaster, our facilitator for this evening, Distinguished Toastmaster Hariharan V. Over to you, Hari.
Thank you so much, Jyotika. In fact, I feel the pressure of the weight of all those words that you spoke to actually accolade. In fact, it was a little too much. I thank you very much for whatever it was and thoroughly appreciate. Before I go any further, Chitlur, thank you so much. I saw that message in the chat box, but I just couldn't respond to it. I do remember you. How can I forget you? I remember when we go a long way into Oman. Brilliant. So before we begin, let me just, I hope you can see me and hear me carefully as well. Oh, brilliant.
Yes,
okay,
we
so let's
can.
begin. So I'm just going to take the liberty to share my slides. You just might have to bear with me. Just give me a moment. Yes, you should be able to see the slides. Oh, hold on. I just need to shut down one of the programs. Hold on. Okay, so you should be able to see my screen now. Let me share audio as well. The reason is that I have something for you. Good. So, all right. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the session is all about, I'm sure you'd have read the agenda, and it talks about systems thinking. Quickly, if I may ask all of you, what do you understand by systems thinking? So can I get some responses? You can tell me your responses. If you put it on the chat box, I'll not be able to read it though, but glad if you could unmute and speak.
Simply, it is a bird eye view of a problem.
So bird's eye view of a problem. Anything else? That's a nice one. That's a very nice one. Anything else?
Holistic approach.
So a holistic approach. All right. Okay. Anything else?
Of how an organization is, what are the main things that contribute to the development or the leverage points?
Okay, that's a nice one. So what are those points that actually contribute to the success of that particular organization? Very nice. Anything else? We have about
Anatomy
55
of a clock.
people in the room. Yes, go ahead.
Anatomy of a clock.
Anatomy of a club, that would be, in fact, really microscopic nonetheless. Still an anatomy of the entire structure that's there. Okay, something like what you see on the screen now.
Understanding the big picture.
I heard two voices. I would like to go. I'll go with the lady first and then the gentleman.
Yeah, understanding the big picture.
Understanding the bigger picture. Okay, anybody, and let's listen to the gentleman who was speaking in the background.
Yeah, thinking and recognizing from part to whole and whole to part.
Oh, yes. So going up, in fact, funneling it down and funneling it upwards as well. So both ways, top down and bottom top, both ways approach, right? Very nice. Anything else? Any other thoughts?
Interconnected elements and this one, SWOT analysis, strength SWOT analysis.
So interconnected elements and doing a SWOT analysis, very nice. Okay, so let me not take more time. So if you look at what is the system thinking strategy or the approach, system thinking is nothing but looking at it from the 30,000 feet level. So what usually happens is leaders need to remember this. And my father gave me a brilliant example once. He said, when you train in the training room, you have a particular skill. So you are a trainer in the organization. Now you are being led by the head of training, and then possibly above the head of training is the head of HR, and above the head of HR is a CEO. Can you ask the CEO to come and conduct the same training as you are training? I said, no. Then he said, then how is it that the leader is the CEO of the organization? It should have ideally been you. So what we need to understand is the leader at the top need not know how to do the job at the bottom, but needs to understand how this job at the bottom can affect the entire picture around. So, as rightly put, somebody should be able to understand those small aspects and look at the contribution towards the bigger picture. I'm saying again, understand the smaller aspects and look at how it can affect positively or negatively the bigger picture. Now, here's the problem. There are two types of leaders. I've come across two types of leaders. Somebody who looks at only the bigger picture and does not care about the small ones, and someone who cares only about the small ones and does not care about the big ones. Now, the ones who are caring about the big picture are usually not micromanagers. And people who are micromanagers usually do not care about the bigger picture. They want all those small things corrected. They believe that do the small things right and get the bigger picture correct. What is correct? There is no right and wrong answer in this. It depends on what type of a leadership style you have. But as a leader, the more higher you go, you cannot be managing small things. You can only understand small things and look at how it is contributing to the bigger picture. So I hope I've been able to lay the foundation clear when I'm looking at systems thinking. Any thoughts, any questions if you may have, please ask me. I'm more than happy to take those questions right up front as they are coming in. No problem.
This is Ashima. Is it
Please go ahead.
like creating heads for your different processes, like different systems?
So when you say heads for your different systems, what do you mean by that?
Heads in the sense, leaders. I mean, you are trying to create leaders for different systems or different parts of your organization, or probably different parts of your uh, small team, maybe.
Yes. What happens is ideally in any organization, leaders have to create leaders. You cannot create managers. The moment you start creating managers, you're going into a transactional area. Leaders have to be transformational. They need to move from transactions to transformation. Now, if you were to move from transaction to transformation, you need to move away from the day-to-day activity and you need to be able to see the bigger picture. Now you see how it is connecting. So from being a transactional leader to become a transformational leader, you can have managers, no problem, but making them leaders is going to be the challenge. So when you use the word leaders, it depends on what in what context you are using that word as leaders. That's the problem.
I try to mend same.
Yes. So so what we need to understand is not every manager is a great leader, but usually great leaders, I would not say they are great managers, but they are smart managers. They know how to get things done, and getting those things done, they know how to keep the team motivated. That's the difference between a manager and a leader. I hope that definition is very clear.
Yes, it does.
Okay, brilliant. I have another hand that has gone up. Please go ahead. Sibaram.
Yeah, I think what I understood from your point is saying, right, when you are going higher position in leadership, you have to be focused on the bigger picture. So my question
Yes.
is it something balanced with the bigger picture with the small one, or you have to need focus only bigger side, bigger
Okay,
picture
so
side?
here's most important. So let's assume you are, so I'm sure you have taken a flight, Sibaram, in your life.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
So if you've taken a flight, imagine the pilot sitting on that seat in the cockpit. Yeah. You as a pilot, your goal, your main aim is to ensure that the plane is ferrying your passengers safely from point A to point B. That's the bigger picture. The smaller picture is ensuring all your gauges in the cockpit are working fine. All those mechanisms in your system are working fine. Because any one of them fail, the passengers will not be able to reach their destination and the entire journey is put into a jeopardy. So your focus is, your end objective is very clearly where you want to go. But at the same time, you need to know which are those levers that are going to help you reach there. So it's not only knowing where to go, but it's also understanding what are those levers. I hope I'm able to give you
No,
that.
I got it. No, you definitely your picture should be no, higher side. But I'm saying, right, in the same times you have to know at least basic things, right? Not otherwise you are ignoring them. That's my point to ask actually.
So what happens is in an organization which has got, so when I was at Standard Chartered Bank, we had about 136,000 people. Now at the top, let us say an operation in a country where you got say 10,000 people, it's very hard for the head of the business to know what is the last man in the line doing. So what do? You create leaders who are going to help find out if those systems are working fine, because you with two eyes cannot see 20,000 eyes what they are seeing. You can see only two with two eyes. So what do? You create more leaders who will help you, who will become your decoy in those areas, because you humanly cannot do it. I understand it's good to have both reins in hand, but you cannot balance it.
Agree. Thank you.
That's the challenge.
Thank you.
So that's when it becomes very important. That's why they say leaders create leaders, whereas managers create glorified clerks. So you need to have leaders who understand, who can see your picture, what you are seeing, and are able to motivate the people below or understand the systems below as to how they function. And you get first-hand information from all of them in the form of being interconnected.
Thank you.
So that's how you move. If you look at the 7 habits of highly effective people, that's how you become an interdependent leader, not an independent or a dependent leader. You become an interdependent leader. So the leader below you is looking up to you for the vision, and you are looking up to the leader below you to give you direction and mission. I hope I'm able to clear that up for you.
Yes. Thank you.
I have another hand that has gone up in the form of Saravanan Kumar. Yes.
Yeah, Hariharan. Yeah. So already you have answered my question, what I was about to ask about between manager and leadership. But one quick question is that again, though the position, some of the companies are giving you in the name of designation as a manager or senior manager, but still expecting to do the leadership work. So how to differentiate that one, or how to become into, because when you said like a manager is a transactional, whereas the leaders are the transformational, right? So how the organizations, but when you don't have that authority to do that, but still the management is expecting that one. So
good point. So Saravanan, let me answer your question this way. So I had this very similar case when I was reading this book, The 8th Habit. Apparently the 7 habits of highly effective people and the 8th habit are one of my favorite reads when it comes to management. In that book, in fact, there is a case study of a person saying, okay, I do not have the capacity, or I'm a small fry in the system. How can I influence the entire system? And what Dr. Stephen Covey rightly points out is, he says that you cannot influence the entire system to do something, but you can at least show how you are having, or what is the positive attitude you have towards that influence. So let's assume you are in a role wherein you are a manager, but you want to become a leader. So when you want to become a leader, it's all about the mindset. So you become an intuitive person. You start thinking like a leader, but you continuing doing your work as a manager because that's what your job desires you to do. But in the future, time desires you to be a leader. So you start thinking and behaving like a leader. Your conversation style will change.
Understood. So basically, though it has not been, this is what I'm taking. I mean, understanding from myself is that though it has not been defined that manager can be a leader, but over the period, understand the system or how it gets evolved. So we will have to be aligned with that aspects.
Absolutely. See, across the world, in some of the organizations that I have trained, I can tell you most of the organizations that I have trained, people are lost in this jungle. They really do not know how can they become a leader. A lot of questions is, when you ask people in the room, how many of y'all are leaders, a lot of hands go up. And then when you ask them, what is a definition of a leader, none of them are able to give you a proper definition for leadership here. So what we need to understand is the word leader is possibly one of the most, sorry to say it, most misconstrued words or misunderstood words in the entire world. Everybody wants to be a leader because the word sounds brilliant. But when you look at their competency levels, when they are doing their job on a day-to-day basis, are they a leader? Time doesn't support it.
Yeah.
And I've seen this across organizations, across the 30 odd countries that I have visited and trained in. Bharadwaj.
So
Go ahead,
my
Bharadwaj. Happy to take a question.
so my question is that from becoming a transactional leader to a transformation leader, we need to learn how to delegate the work to our team.
See, the moment, Bharadwaj, what happens is the word delegation itself is a very, I would like to say, I would put it this way, it's a very demeaning word. You don't delegate work. You don't delegate it to your team. You empower your teams. So the difference between delegation and empowerment is this. When you delegate, you become a more of a aggregator, an aggregating leader who's nothing but a transactional leader. The moment you empower your team, you give them that capacity, the responsibility, the accountability. That's when you're transforming them from just being transactional to becoming transformational. So the word that comes into play there is empowerment.
Right, sir.
And empowerment comes with the risk of failure. How many of you in this audience here, you can raise your hand and say, are willing to let your division directors, your area director, your club leaders to fail? If you do not have the gut, if you do not have the stomach to digest failure, you're not willing to let go and empower your people. And this is the first learning that any leader must have. If you want to empower, you should be able to digest failure, because you cannot I remember when about 20 years ago, when I was forming a team for myself, I rejected some 70 or 80 different candidates who were trainers. One day my line manager came to me and said, my dear friend, you've already interviewed about 70 odd people and you rejected all of them. What is the reason? I said, I'm not able to find that right person. So he asked me, what do you define as the right person? I said, somebody who can deliver the job as I do. He said, you're looking for the wrong person. I said, why? He said that the person who can do that job like you is only you. The person who will come in will be able to do the job in his or her style. All you need to see at the end of the day is, are they able to do it correctly? So the most important aspect here is, that is when you are willing to empower. You're willing to bring in people into the team and who can think differently, who are different individuals, and are willing to punt on them and go that extra mile. Now in Toastmasters, that's where the difference is. That's why it's known as servant leadership. We will come to that. I will come to that in some time. I'll dive a little deep into systems thinking, and then we can get into Toastmasters. Yeah. Okay. If I have no questions, any more questions, I'm going to go forward. Is that okay? All right. Let's go further. Now, so when I looked at systems thinking, I'm going to rush. I'm going to take off the slide. The reason is that expectation. So I don't think I would want to do this. I'll go ahead. Now, what is ideally your systems thinking is something like this video. I want you to watch this video very carefully, and then we will do a debrief. Watch it very carefully and listen to what is said at the end. Listen to what is said at the end. You ready? Here we go.
Isn't it nice when things just work?
Yes. Any thoughts? It's open.
It
Any
reminds
thoughts?
me of the Rubes Goldberg engine that we also use. It's about how energy transfer happens from one point to the other, irrespective of
Super.
point A to point n minus 1, wherever it goes.
Excellent. Excellent. That's perfect progression. You talked about progression. Very nice. Very nice. N minus 1 unto n minus 1. Brilliant. Yes. I'm sure you're an engineer.
I work with a few, yeah.
Yeah, so that comes out straight there. Yes. I have seen Ashima raising her hand. Yes, Ashima.
It's kind of as a layman, it's kind of you are showing all your processes, all your parts of the body, and the ultimate result is to move. So how each and every process or each and every part of the car is helping to move. So at the end, the car is moving, and how all the parts, all the process is helping it to move.
Brilliant. Very nice. And by the way, this video does not have any camera stunts.
Oops.
There is no photographic stunts because this video was shot close to 20 years ago. And it is all shot in one scene. It was not cut and edited and reshot. There are I think about 70 odd cameras placed to get the entire sequence in place. So brilliantly put. So this video is nothing but it's telling you. Yes, Barinder, please go ahead.
Yeah, I remember seeing this long back. You reminded. So basically, at the end also, they said it's good to see everything work together. So it's the integration of every process in the whole system, that how it has to work together
Super.
for the system to run.
Fantastic. Very nice. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So somebody else also has raised their hand along with Barinder. Yes. Yes. Shruti, please go ahead.
Yeah, and it also tells us that every unit doing their work at the best brings out the best results. Like, as in, we always say as integrity. And where I have a question also to this is integrity is something where it comes from a person, and always it cannot be challenged. What when I take to the reality of a corporate here, most of this things where it is stuck with the manager or a leader is like, am I that person who has to be that checking the integrity? Because if the team does how this example showed, if it does, then it's true that it will take you to lead. But how you build that integrity with them is where I think we have to build this empowerment within the team. That's how I see it.
True. Very nice. Very
Yeah.
nice. Rosmi, yes, you raised hand as well.
Yeah. Yes, Hari. So I feel like each small or bigger part, irrespective of what they look like, it is an integral part to have. And I like the end message also. It's why it's nice when things just work. So it's not exceeding expectations, not at all. It's like, yeah, it just work, and that's what we all need, without any push, without any motivation.
Fantastic. Very nice. Very nice. Very nice. I have some more hands going up. Karthik.
Yes, so for me, I love this kind of domino effects. I keep looking at different variation puzzles and all. But then for me, it's like the precision is very much important in this aspect. But then that's what, as you said, failure, we have to ready to be take it. So this video must have not been happen at once, but every inch, every millimeter matters a lot. So in the same way, in the leadership, everything matters. And the effect, it works at the end. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. It's like saying that the head of marketing of Honda couldn't have gone and done each part of this. He would have said, okay, I need a car, or she would have said, I need a car advertisement. And there were people who were putting these parts together. So that's where we need to understand that the leader is the one who gives the direction towards the vision, as to where they want to go. It is the team that is going to power us towards that direction. If the leader thinks that I can power the entire team, the word I itself is spelling or is going to spell dooms. Yes, I have another hand in the form of Sajid.
Thank
Sajid, I
you.
think
Thank you.
yes.
For me, it is simply if everyone does their simple, small work in synchrony, something big can happen.
Oh, yes. Absolutely correct. But this is where we need to understand that you need to have somebody there that leader there who's going to be there at the top needs to know where that bus should go. So as rightly put by Jim Collins in the book Good to Great, he says you need to get the right man in the right seat, in the right bus to go in the right direction. So you need to have that man know where he or she is going to be, or what is their role, and how are they going to influence the direction and the journey in the bus. Because if they do not know what they're going to do, usually that is when people leave or fail. So when I was talking to my father at some point in time, I said, Dad, why do you have people failing in teams? And he said 50% of the blame is with the leader himself or herself. Because the leader ideally at times is not able to communicate his or her vision, what is there inside the mind. So as a leader, the number one criteria or the foundation of any leadership path is communication. And that is why communication is the primary goal in Toastmasters also. You may become area directors, you may become division directors, you can become the international director, no problem. But if you cannot communicate well, who's going to even look up to you? And if people don't look up to you, you're going to be leading a kingdom without any subjects. You cannot be having a kingdom without subjects. So that is the most important aspect of leadership. It's all about communicating what you have in your mind. Brilliant. Thank you so much for those excellent inputs with regard to what you think the video was. Now, so when you dive straight into what is it that we're going to be doing by the end of this program, ideally, we would look at three things. So we will define and explain systems thinking. I think we have already done quite a good amount of distance when it comes to defining and explaining it. We will look at how does the Toastmaster structure work. So I'll spend quite a good amount of time on that. And last but not the least is I'm going to leave you with something that you need to do post you finish this training program. You may not want to come back to me with results, but I'm going to leave you with this because this will tell you what you should do in the future. Yeah. So building from there, first things first, what's the agenda? So we look at systems thinking. We look at the iceberg model and leadership styles. And last but not the least is we look at the Toastmasters. How does Toastmaster affect each of us? And how do we as individuals affect Toastmasters as well? So first thing is systems thinking. So if you look at systems thinking, the definition is very simple. It is looking at the whole system, the entire ecosystem. How is it connected? The interconnectedness with all the elements. Now, just like that advertisement in the car, the first, that rolling screw that you had, that bearing was connected to the car in some form or the other. If that bearing did not roll down that plank, the car wouldn't have rolled out in the last scene. So how does this bearing affect the car in the big picture? Is that interconnectedness that one has to see. The third most important is what are the relationships all of these have in between. Now, relationships, I must say this, when it comes to anything that is non-human, which is inanimate, there are two types of relationships. One is something that you can see. The other is something that can be felt. When it comes to things, you can see. But when it comes to people, you not only see, but you can also feel. So this is where, as leaders, if you want to be a good leader, you should have two traits. And I'm going to leave you with these because this is very important. I need you to work on this a little later. You need to become a sensing leader and you need to become a feeling leader. A sensing leader is usually very strong with rational, and a feeling leader is extremely emotional. So your emotional intelligence comes in from here, and your rational decision making comes in from your sensing setup. So in your relationship, when you're looking at how things are connected, you need to look at it from the two angles, the emotional connect and the rational connect. With, of course, items with inanimate things, you can leave the emotional aspect, but you must be able to look at the rational aspect when it comes to non-human. With humans, you have to look at the emotional connect. And this is something that I need to leave you with and keep this. If somewhere, if you've written it down, please mark an asterisk. Emotional connect at times wins over everything else. Now, rightly put by Peter F. Drucker, who says that culture eats strategy for breakfast. Anybody has heard of that? Culture eats strategy for breakfast.
Yes.
Yes. People get connected to culture emotionally, but get connected to strategy rationally. If you can have people emotionally connected on your side, none of your strategies will fail. So that means with people, you also need to look at that emotional connect. And that's why relationships. And the last and the most important one is looking at your emerging trends and patterns. Now, your emerging trends and patterns is what has been happening in the past and what do you see in the future. You as a leader, so once my father said, you don't get paid to look at what happened in the past. You get paid to look at what's going to happen in the future because you are that visionary. You're not an executioner. An executioner will not get paid as much top dollar as let us say a leader gets paid. So this is something I must tell you and I must leave you with. Next, when you look at the systems thinking, when you look at the entire benefit of it, you distinctly can see the first one is it'll tell you where is the problem. Number one, where is the problem? Number two, it'll tell you how is the problem affecting you. So the problem might look very small, but it might be leading to something very big. Now, I'll give you a very simple example. Now, all of us in our lifetimes would be having this problem of having a cold, I'm sure. We all have a cold, right? Now, if you have a cold, will you be able to go and speak on stage? Will you, if you have a cold, you're running a nose, you have a running nose, you have a cold, you're not feeling well, will you be able to go and perform on the platform like how you can ever perform if you didn't have a cold? Anyone?
The performance might get hit.
Of course not.
The performance might get hit, but then
the performance will definitely get hit.
But then the mindset of we going and delivering it is what it matters.
So this is where we need to understand. The problem is not your cold. The problem is what is the reason you got that cold. The mindset is secondary. The primary is what is the reason you got that cold. That is why they say, do not treat the symptom, treat the infection. So the cold example is a very small one. Now let's take it, let's actually funnel it down to Toastmasters. Let me ask you this question. The attrition rate in your clubs, in your areas, in your division, how is it? Is it good? Is it bad? Too high, too low when it comes to attrition? Is the attrition too high or attrition too low of members in your clubs and divisions and areas? Anyone?
Attrition, it keeps happening. It's not too high or too low, but it is there. So few members they might have their professional commitment or the personal commitment, or few who shows 100% to Toastmasters commitment. So it all depends. So I always have this favorite quote of mine, like it's mine actually. Involve to evolve. I keep telling this. So how much ever one involves, so much they evolve. It all depends on them. So basically, this is what I can put it across.
So there was a study done by Toastmasters International some years ago, and it said that about 70% of the members who actually leave or attrite from the system, they usually attrite after finishing about four actually projects, more to be more precise, 4 projects in the entire pathways. That means they do not finish their first level also, and then they attrite. So when they went delve deeper to find out what could be the reason, the one single answer that they got was people are not able to see value being added in their journey. So the problem is not that they are attriting, the problem is that they're not able to see value. And why they're not able to see value is where the problem lies. It's a very small thing. It's people attriting. We can bring in as many number of people. India has got a population of 1.5 billion, 1.4 billion. We can keep getting people in day out. But the fact of the matter remains that they will all come in and leave at some point in time. So if we cannot show them value as to why they need to stay with Toastmasters, that's where the problem is. So when you look at the larger picture, when you look at pathways, when you look at the leadership, when you look at the leadership goals, when you look at how leadership functions, and you are able to bring it down to the member's life, how does that area director role affect the member in his or her day-to-day life? That's when you have addressed that concern. Today, that is somewhere or the other, that bridge is being missed. That bridge has been severed. So being a holistic, or let us say when you get into the systems thinking mode, you will understand problems first. Second, you will understand the potential. Some people come with immense potential. Now let's understand there's a difference between talent and potential. Can anybody in this audience tell me what's the difference between talent and potential? Anyone? I'm going to stop sharing because I wanted to understand. I'm not able to see you people. So anybody? What's the difference between talent and potential?
Potential means the ability to do work. Talent is how to get the work completed. How they should know that how to complete that work.
Okay. Anybody else?
Talent is something that. Okay. Yeah, please go
Yes.
ahead.
Please go ahead.
Theory and implementation.
Theory and implementation. Okay. Anybody else?
Potential, the person doesn't know, but talent, the potential, I don't know I can do this. Talent, I know I can do this.
Yes, potential is something we have to discover. And the talent is something we are sure that we can do.
I can see Chitlur smiling there. Chitlur.
Yeah. One thing is I'm always smiling. And second thing is talent is about current possibilities. Potential is about future possibilities.
Close, very close. Anybody else? So here's the thing. You look at cricket. We are all Indians. So I'll pick up cricket. Sachin Tendulkar and Vinod Kambli. Sachin Tendulkar and Vinod Kambli. Two greats of the game when they came into the game. But Sachin Tendulkar lived on to become one of the greatest players. Vinod Kambli somewhere fizzled out. Now, was Sachin talented or did he have potential?
He was consistent. I mean, he persevered.
He had both. He has both actually. Yes.
Somebody has written there, Vinod Kambli was talented and Sachin had potential. Now, here's the thing. Somebody who is talented, so the single common denominator for all of them, or the single common numerator for all of them, that is talent and potential, is time. When you give time to a person who's got potential, they start building the skill towards doing that particular activity. When you give time to somebody who's got talent, what you're doing is you're multiplying it. So people who are talented, when they give themselves time, when they give themselves the opportunity, when they are willing to have that mental attitude towards doing something, you would notice that they grow much faster. However, having said that, people with talent are the ones who fail very quickly because they either get into this mode of I know it all, or they do not want to focus at all and they say, you know what, I don't have the time for it. The people who succeed are the people who have got potential, and that is why I'm going to share again. That is why this slide very clearly says potential and not talent, because talent is only 10%. 90% of the people are potential oriented. So we need to be able to see the potential, and this exercise of, let us say, systems thinking will help us to see potential. Next one. It'll help us to understand the impact of what is happening, just like your car in advertisement. And last but not the least is, it'll help you with thinking in the future as to what should be your plans to ensure that you do not have fiascos, you do not have issues that will come up that can actually run your entire vehicle into a, let's say, a grinding halt. So when you look at it from a bigger picture and then boil down, go down to those nitty-gritties, that's when you understand these four aspects. Brilliant. Let's go further. Now, how do you do this? So here is where I would like to introduce the concept of the iceberg theory. Now, let's understand this very specifically and simply. In the iceberg, you can see only 1/3 of the iceberg when it is submerged in water. That means you do not see close to 70% of the iceberg. And we all know of this because the most famous story is the Titanic story. Now, this same concept can be applied to your systems thinking concept. So what do you understand by the iceberg theory in the systems thinking concept? So the first and the foremost thing that you need to know is what you see is events. What you are seeing is events. The most important aspect is understanding the patterns and the trends that these events come up to. So for example, when COVID happened, everybody was talking of the previous time a very big epidemic had come was in 1920. So they said, every 100 years you have an epidemic coming into the world, which grinds the world into a, let us say, it stops the entire world. It pauses everybody's life. But what WHO said was, there are epidemics coming in every 10 years, and they're already expecting the superbug somewhere in 2032. So the whole world has got something known as trends, and there are trends that can be studied. So your iceberg model talks about events, and it will also tell you about trends and patterns. Once you understand the patterns and the trends, then you get to know what are the underlying structures that are leading to these trends to happen and then cause those events to happen. So for example, global warming, all the storms that you see today, let us say when you have this flooding that happens, even as we speak, flooding has happened in Sri Lanka, has happened in Malaysia, has happened in some parts of India. Now, the event is the flooding. Now, has it happened? Yes, it has happened consistently over the last few years. And what could be the reason? Very simple, climate change. So we know that the underlying reason or the underlying structure is actually climate change. However, what is the narrative that we have in the world today? Now, is it that everybody believes that there is global warming and there is climate change? Or is it that people are more worried of development? So your narrative will tell you what will be the underlying structure, what will be the trend, and ultimately the event. If you change your narrative, everything else around it will change. Now, when I look at it from the angle of, let us say, what does it entail? Now, when there is an event that will happen, you usually react. It's just like how you have a pain in the tooth, you go to the doctor. But the question you need to ask is, am I going to get that pain again? Or did I get it before? Are my teeth getting spoiled? That is when you start looking at your brushing habits. So you start designing, okay, instead of brushing once or twice a day, I will brush thrice a day. I'll floss regularly. So you change the entire designing mechanism of your brushing mechanism, of your brushing of the teeth every day. And last and not the least is, when you do this consistently, you would notice that your teeth are getting cleaner and your transformation has happened to having better dental hygiene. So what happens is, you need to understand the entire aspect, the entire picture first, look at it, then look at what are the problems. Then look at your trends. Has it happened before? Look at the causes for those trends, and then look at what is the mistake that we are making to lead to those causes. As they say, the mistakes are very few. The results can be many. Now, usually when you look at, I'm sure many of you all are married in this audience, and I'm sure when I say this, you would also agree. Most of the fights that we have at home with our spouses is not because the problem is very big. The problem is a small one. But what makes it big is our ego, our attitude, and the way we behave at that point in time. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I can't see you though. I don't know if I can see any smiles. But yeah, this, I'm sure you all agree to this fact. So the problem will look very, very big when you look at it from the angle of the result of the event. But when you boil down, you'll actually see where it is lying. And that is where you need to apply the narrative or the transformation technique. Now, how do you do that? So first thing is, you ask this question, what happened? So you go top bottom. You don't go bottom top. You ask what happened. So when you get your answer, let's say you had a fight with the spouse. Now, how many times have you had a fight with your spouse over the last, let us say, over the last 1 week or 10 days or 15 days or 1 month? Then what is the reason that you are having this fight? Did you say something wrong? Or is there a general tension at home? Is there a financial angle to it? You understand the influencers towards it. And last but not the least is, what are the assumptions and the beliefs that each of you are having that you are talking that way? Because those assumptions and beliefs will lead to the you and the I conversation. It's not the we anymore. It's the you and the I. You see how it has changed now? You did this. You told me this. I told you this. The moment you say the you and the I, tell me which conversation will go more smoothly. Usually conversations go smoothly only when you have the we. And the we comes in from the assumptions and the beliefs. If you believe that you are in the journey with them, automatically it becomes a we. If you believe that you are journeying alone, it will be an I. So it is all about how you are thinking and what is your belief towards that particular vision that you are carrying for the team. Now, here is where we need to understand. Events can be seen. Events can be seen. Trends can be heard. You can see and hear. Underlying structures can be actually sensed. You can sense that there is something wrong with the spouse, something wrong in the relationship. But there is a fourth level as well. That's known as feeling. You have this gut. The difference between the sensing and the gut, the sensing comes with a little bit of rational and study and analysis, and you are able to forecast. But the feeling is gut feeling. It comes from the within. And nobody knows how you get it. It's just like you're dreaming that guests coming home and they actually come home the next day. You don't even spoken about them. You don't even thought of them the previous day. So when you are a leader, and this is where I want to leave you with, and I said that you need to be a sensing leader and a feeling leader. A sensing leader will not only be good with, let us say, seeing and hearing and sensing, A feeling leader will be good at all these four. You have to be a 50-50 because sometimes feeling leaders can't take tough calls. So you need to have that feeling, that empathy at one side, and you need to have that amount of, let us say, sensing or rational thought in the other side. And that makes you a wholesome leader. I'm going to stop here because next is diving into the next aspect of your systems thinking. I'm going to stop here and take some questions before I go any further. I'm going to stop sharing. Please. Any questions?
So, so when like these system thinking you can use in all the situation, or do you say that specific situation only we have to use the systems thinking?
Systems thinking can be applied every time and any time. So I'll give you a very simple example. Let us say that you want to buy something which is a little expensive. When you are buying something expensive, how many of us think, okay, is this really needed? Is it going to affect my cash flow? Is it actually going to keep me a little financially strained for a little while? Do we actually need it for the time being, or is it only a desire? The moment you're asking all these questions, you are actually thinking like you're doing systems thinking. Very simple. It's not that we don't do systems thinking. What happens is when we go into that leadership mode of dealing with people, of managing teams, usually we forget this aspect of thinking big, and then it only becomes, let me shoot down the problem first.
Okay.
Systems thinking is to be done every time. It's a cultural change.
Okay. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yes. I want to say, are we talking about our gut feeling or instincts here when we are talking about feelings?
Yes, that's gut feeling, and instinct is feeling.
Yes. I mean, as a leader, we need to at times just not think rationally, but also believe our own thinking system as
It's a must.
yes, as in what we are thinking upon any decision or any conflict is what's supposed to be.
True. Because if you cannot apply a little bit of instinct, and if you cannot apply a little bit of gut feeling, you will think rational. And the moment you start thinking rational, it's going to be only decisions that are going to be driven based purely on numbers.
Yes.
You look at you don't look at cause and effect, you look at cost and benefit, which actually does not work every time. Yeah, yes, Sunil, you raised your hand. Happy to take it.
Hello, sir. Hey, this is Sunil from HP Element Toastmasters Club. So I just had this question. I think what you mentioned is seeing, hearing, sensing, and feeling.
Correct.
So don't limit to what you see, hear. Also get into sensing, gut feeling, right? So it also involves a bit of time spent on the actual scenario, right?
Yes. Yes.
And the involvement that you have as a leader on that scenario. So the more time spent, the more you involve. I mean, you will have more sense and gut feeling. Is that a true statement? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Yeah. Okay. I think that's all I had.
That is why leaders who are able to have their ears on the ground are better leaders than people who are sitting 30,000 feet and only commanding. So most important is you sit 30,000 feet above the ground, but you have your ears on the ground.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, Bhavna.
Yes, sir. So talking about the same problem, considering the flood effect. So you told that when we change the narrative, the entire thing changes. So to
Yes.
solve a problem, we have many aspects. We can, there is no one particular solution. Say, for example, we can take effects to minimize the global warming, or we can also improve our infrastructure or something that eventually brings down the global warming. So here there are two different ways we can put the narrative, right? So
Correct.
again, how are we going to put the narrative? Is it going like, is it go? Should we put in a way that it would be accepted by a majority of people, or so how is that narrative decided over there?
Good point, Bhavna. The narrative has to be in conjunction with the vision that you want to take it to.
Okay.
Your vision cannot be different from the narrative. If the narrative is different from the vision, people will ask you, okay, you're setting this narrative, but your vision is something else. So I'll give you an example. Let's say this same flood. For example, your vision is to reduce global warming. If your vision is to reduce global warming, your narrative cannot be, let's try and increase, let us say, use of fossil fuel.
Yeah.
So your dependency on fossil fuel will have to come down, keeping modernization, keeping development at the same pace, not compromising on it, and ensure that your global warming is coming down. So that means you'll have to look at other scenarios for, let us say, development in terms of renewable energy like solar energy and stuff like that. Now, here's the problem. Let's look at what Mr. Donald Trump did. When he went into the climate conference, he just walked out. He said, I don't care about all of this. The climate change and global warming is just a farce. That's also a narrative. So how many of us can say, no, what he's saying is wrong? How many of us are here in this room can say what he's saying is right? So there can be 100 narratives to a particular situation. Your narrative has to tie into your vision. Because if your narrative and your vision are too contradictory or moving in 180 direction to one another, you definitely have a very huge delta that you have to cover. It will not come up. People will not believe your let us say, the integrity as an aspect that we spoke about when we began the session.
Super, sir. Now it's very clear. So I would like to again understand. So to make that 180 there, to bring that 180 to 0 degrees, what we have these four aspects: sense, feel, hear, and
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah, I've got 3 more hands gone up. Shruti, I'll take Shruti first because she's first on the grid. Yes, Shruti.
Yeah. So, in this tip of iceberg, when we see what has happened or trends, I would take this topic when you want to give feedback as a leader, because currently, yes, as tech, I'm in that middle management of a manager or going to be a leader. So when some feedback session comes, and it's definitely that it is very difficult to bring the V aspect. I'm talking from purely a corporate perspective. And the I aspect comes because I have experienced this also. It is like you listen to me first, like what is being done. So how do you change this practically? Because here one person is giving feedback on, it is on the performance, because it is something that which is very much relative in a workplace, and you want to put them into a pattern so that as I called out earlier also, they have to work with integrity so that we can achieve. They know we have the narrative, we know the vision, still that they want to take that excuse key and say that, hey, look, I have done 99% right, it was only 1%, but I'm telling them this 1% also cost to you. So this is where, like, how you can get few insights so that I can make this I conversation to a we conversation.
So what we need to understand, Shruti, is building on what you said. So if you're having feedback, if you're having a feedback session with somebody on let us say their performance, that when I'm sitting on the other side, I'll be honest to you, I've got appraised at least say 25, 50 times in my entire life. So starting with 1999 to 2024, if I look at the number of years of appraisals that I've done, say average 2, I've done at least 50 appraisals. A lot of times I have felt when I'm sitting on the other side that this is my journey, because the conversation is, okay, you did this. What can you do the next year? How can you improve? Rather, I felt that the leader should have said this. You know what? I think we as an organization, you and I in this journey, need to do this. I think this is what we did. I think this is where we did not do well.
Oh,
That journey
okay.
has to be made a joint journey. Journey for an individual is always lonely unless you have company. If you do not have
Yes.
company with the leader, trust me, that person is going to feel lonely. And many times people do not want to come and talk about it. How many times has it
Okay.
happened that you have had the motivation to go and tell your leader, you know what, I feel
Yes.
lonely on this job. Can you help me with it? We usually do not say it. You know
Do
why?
not.
Not because we don't know that we do not want to say it. It's because we are scared to go and say it, because we know or we feel, if I say this, that person is going to call or going to draw judgment on me.
Judgment. Simple. Yeah, that is what is a narrative. So
Exactly.
even though if I tell them it is for what the betterment, it is always felt, because I hear the same narrative as you're in the middle management. So someone is looking from a 30,000 feet and you're looking from 33,000 feet, and you want them to gear up so that it looks the same. So I give a very broader vision to them. I think this is where, even though if I want to bring this topic of we, it always turns to I, and this loneliness. As you said, it becomes judgmental. But how do we break the silos? Maybe
So
that it's trickier, but somewhere I think if I'm able to crack this, where I can say that team that we want to lead this because it's as a whole we have to drive, and this, so it gives that complete meaning of how nice that Honda car was made.
So what you need to do, Shruti, next time is when you have this conversation, just try this. When you have this feedback conversation,
Yeah.
before you go into understanding and giving that feedback, ask the person what was the reason he or she did it the way they did it. Let's understand their logic, because they
Okay.
are possibly standing at 3,000 feet. We are at 30,000 feet. If we are able to understand what is the reason or what is it that they are seeing that we didn't see or we couldn't see,
Okay.
that would be a good starting point. That's number one. Number two is, next time when you want the person to do something which is going to be different from what they did last time, you tell them, we should do this. Don't say, I want you to do this. The moment you say, I need you to do this, I want you to do this, they're not going to do it. Or they're going to do it with a lot of, let us say, negativity in them.
Okay.
Rather than that, my suggestion to you is this. If you want the organization to go somewhere, if you want the team to go somewhere, I think we must do this.
Yeah.
The we starts coming in. So she knows that that door is open for me to go and ask for help. When you say, I want you to do this, it means, bloody hell, I don't care. You have to do it.
Yeah.
Literal words.
Right. Yes.
I'm sorry if the syntax has been too hard, but that's the truth.
And
that's how corporates speak, right? That's how
that's how,
managers speak.
yeah, that's how it hits hard, and the silence breaks everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
no sooner you say, I need you to do this, you'd start noticing the person putting his head down. Or they're looking somewhere else, or they started to play with their phone, they started to write on their paper, they started to play with their pen. Gone, you lost them, because now they know that they are alone in this journey. They do not want to be in it. How many of us are willing to go alone in a journey? Unless you are a loner.
Yeah. So it's again striking that even though you are a loner, don't make others a loner. You tell them you're leading the path.
This, Shruti, I'll tell you that I have been training of late certain corporates, and they have started to bring in Gen Z into the mainstream. And believe me, Gen Z is giving people a heartache. When I mean heartache, I literally mean a heartache. Because they don't believe in the we. They ask, okay, what am I going to get? And they will supplement that question by saying, how are you going to help me? I don't care about the we. I don't care about your journey. I don't care about the organization's journey. What are you going to give me? So I have this one organization that Jyotika actually mentioned when she gave the introduction. The HR head of HR tells me the guy has to be there. He has to take calls after office work, but the person is not willing to take it. Do I get paid for this after 8 hours? No, I don't. So if you are not able to speak their language, you lost them.
Okay.
Different strokes for different folks.
Got it.
Yes, Rosmi.
Yeah, maybe mine is also something similar line. Since you said talent and potential, right? So as a leader, what we should nurture.
Good. Very nice.
And if you are looking from above, if I would say my case very particularly, I have 40 members reporting to me. It's mostly a remote work. We hardly meets once a year. So I cannot expect and understand. And sometimes my assumptions can be wrong. So I try to, so that also I try to get what should I do? And the feedback is again, that is something which I have a heartache. It's nearing. So how will I communicate? I have Gen Z people, same. Being remote, they have a tracking system. They hardly log in for 2 to 3 hours. So when I ask, they say, I'm done with my work. And weekends they'll not answer calls. Something we have a production issue, nobody is there. Yeah, we have to sit. Maybe individually I have to sit and debug. So these things, how will I tackle? See, to think about think their lines or language is it takes time, and plus I have to motivate the other members also. So Gen Z is a small, very, I would say 10%, but I have other members like. So, and they also saying, okay, it is okay to log in less hours. It is okay not to answer, even if the leader requests. Yeah, that because they say if it's a frequent ask or something comes up, the main thing I see is okay. When my leader asks, I have that fear or I have that responsibility. Okay, I have to be available, even if it is after office hours or weekends. Yes, if it comes for a frequently, maybe I might push can I, but still a straight no is not something which I'm used to. So I mean, I'm honestly telling you, it's not the fear also, but I feel okay, I have to bring that value add to the end user. Else, the work I do, it's just for monetary. That is something which is against my value.
So what we need to understand, Rosmi, is first things first is the moment you rightly said those assumptions can lead us to failure, because assumptions and presumptions definitely are seeds to failure. So when first thing I would request you to do is whenever you're having these conversations, my suggestion to you is this: you have 40 members in your team, you should be able to speak to those 40 members at least 4 times in a year, bare minimum.
Okay.
I remember I had a team of close to 275. I used to speak to them at least twice a year. It used to be a one-on-one conversation with them, and it is not a formal conversation. It is not a formal conversation.
Right.
But within that informal conversation, you have got formal stuff discussed. And Gen Z loves that. The moment you say it's a formal conversation, they're coming into the room with a certain amount of, let us say, bias, with a certain amount of, let us say, preconceived notions. My humble suggestion to you is do not have it as formal discussions. Keep it informal, but get your formal information there. That would be the answer to your first question. The second question that you need, that you have with Gen Z is this. Please try and understand, when it comes to Gen Z, you should ensure that you are able to, and I told this to somebody, there's something known as a time motion study. What's a time motion study? In an 8 hour, what is the best job you can do? With Gen Z, because their span of attention is very short, it's less than that of a goldfish. What you would have to do now is give them those objectives to be done, those jobs to be done, and taper the time. People in the Gen Z world, in the Gen Alpha world, love stress. That's why they're playing games. That's why they are chatting. They love to see instant results, but in the least amount of time. Give them assignments in such a way that they can see results immediately or in the shortest span of time. And you see how their motivation jumps out of the roof. You have my word on this because I just tried it, it worked.
Okay, sure, Hari. I'll do that. Yep. And potential and talent, how will I
Okay, so
nurture?
whether the person is has got potential, or whether the person is talented, your goal is to ensure that you create leaders. You do not actually have special attention given to somebody, and because they are talented, and no attention given to somebody who's got more potential. If you ask me, the person who has got potential needs more focus, because a person with talent needs only your attention. The difference between the words is attention and focus. Focus is going through the entire drill. Attention is, are they doing it correctly? That's it.
Understood. Yep.
That's all you should keep in mind.
Right.
Because as I said, Sachin Tendulkar was only potential driven. He did not have the skills of a great batsman, or he did not have the talent to become a great batsman. He became a great batsman not because he was born as a batsman. He always wanted to be a fast bowler. Now, I have heard Harsha Bhogle live several times, and he keeps giving this example every time. So I'm going back to that same example. Any other questions? Yes, Lata, please go ahead.
Good evening, Hari.
Right.
Okay, now my question is, I'm a skills development trainer. I train across various kind of trainees. Now, my recent interaction with garment factory workers, when I need to train them on certain topics which are related to the garment factories. Now, what happens is, we're training a different mix of crowd all the time. One session I'm training different people, one training session I'm training different people. Now, for me to adapt to that change, it's getting a little difficult now. So, what do I do in this situation so that whichever type of crowd I'm training right now, I can be with them, and accordingly, what is their requirements, what is their learning style, grasping style, and whatever point my client wants them to put across to them. How do I do that?
So I'll answer that because you're a learning professional, Lata. I'll answer it in the world of the learning, in the world learning jargon itself. So when you do your ADDIE, whenever you are doing your assessment, I usually would try and understand who's the audience, and that audience will tell me the style of program that I need to deliver. So I'll give you a very simple example. If it is going to be, let us say, leaders at the top will hate me giving them a lecture. So what do? I will simulate their environment and look at what are they doing. When it is middle level managers, well, let us say your middle level people who are not too strategic, I will play with them in terms of games, not simulations, games, learning games. And when it is people on the floor, I will always have activities. The difference between your simulation, your games, and activities is this. Simulation is putting them into a scenario and getting them to do it, which will be similar to what they're doing on a day-to-day basis. Games is more fun. You will bring in the learning, which is more towards their job. Activities is pure fun. And with that fun, you will slip in your learning. What we need to understand is, as Dr. Ralph C. Smedley rightly said, the greatest amount of learning happens in the moments of enjoyment. How are you going to get those moments of enjoyment created within the room? Imagine you playing activities with the top management. You think they're sitting there just for activities? If you're going to play activities, they'll say, you know what are you trying to show me? A Bollywood movie wherein you've got item numbers in your program? We don't need this. And then your program has fallen flat on the face. So people at the top will demand simulations. They'll demand you to get them to take decisions. They want the pressure of time on them. They want to really feel like how they are in that room, wherein they can experiment and go wrong. That's what they want. When you look at middle level managers, they want to just get away from the work and just enjoy. So you play games, but you bring in those games from the world of their business. And then activities, they just want to enjoy themselves. So you bring in those enjoyments and then slip in the learning from the activity. That's it. You don't have to do anything more.
Thank you, Ari. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes, Barinder sir.
So, Hari, taking your point about Gen Z, the earlier point which you were saying, how do you train them for the showing a whole bigger picture, like connecting the small activities which you were saying that they should get the result immediately to the larger picture in the system as a whole? For the larger projects where the things move very slowly, maybe they are dealing with stakeholders who are in government or legal. So how do you train them for those type of things?
So Barinder Saab, I have this mentor of mine who's in Canada, who's a CIPD level 7. So I asked him this question, and I was stuck as much as you are. I said, you know what, these Gen Z guys have very short span of attention. So what do I do? So he actually reversed the question and asked me, how do you eat an elephant? So I said, excuse me? He asked me, how do you eat an elephant? And I was wondering, and he said, you know what, in pieces. So he said, you take the entire timeline and break it down into smaller timelines and set milestones which are rather smaller for them and which can be quickly achieved. But in return, when you put all of them together, they should give you the bigger picture.
Because in the past, we have shown a bigger picture for motivation so that they know where they have to reach. And if you show them the small, the people were not as motivated
Correct.
earlier.
Sir, the thing is that in today's times, they do not want to see the bigger picture. They just want to see what's it for them in the shortest span. Because they are not thinking, so in your time, you thought 20 years, 30 years of career. Today, they think 2.5 years and 3.5 years of career. So if we are not able to show them something which they're going to achieve in 2 years or 2.5 years, they will be gone to the competition. And for example, in fact, Jyotika mentioned SAP. Today, SAP is facing the same problem, especially in India. They are losing people, new people who come in, they're losing to the competition because SAP is an extremely strong organization when it comes to training. So they bring them with a lot of training. They come in because SAP is a very large organization. It moves very slowly, as you rightly said. People say, oh, what a lethargic system is this? What a bloody boring place to work. And they get a job with HP and they disappear. They get a job with Microsoft, they disappear. They get a job with Google, they disappear.
But large projects happen over years. That bridge over in Jammu Kashmir took 17 years.
Yes. So that is where we have to break this 17 years into 1.7 years and show it to them. And they are thirsty for reward and recognition because when they got into the school, in our time, we had 60 students in a school, in our class, 60, 180. But today,
Yes.
you've got 30 members in a class, but you've got 10 classes. You got A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K. God knows how many divisions you have. So the competition has also become very high, and they are thirsty for, really thirsty for reward and recognition. And that helps. And the more you reward them, the more they're going to come to you. And this worked with one of the organizations that I'd worked with. Any other questions? I'm happy to take it, and then I'll go ahead. I know I have another about 30 minutes, but I'll be able to finish. Yeah, somebody says essentially telling people how to achieve short-term KPIs. Absolutely. You break down the KPIs into smaller versions and give it to them. And don't micromanage them, by the way. One word of caution. So I forgot to tell this to Shruti. Don't micromanage them. Rosmi also. Don't micromanage them. Give them the assignment and then let them do it. If they fail, that's when you start asking them questions and support them. They love to do things on their own. They love to discover. The difference between us and them is when we wanted to find the meaning of lossy noxy amplification in our time in school 30 years ago, you needed to go to the library. You needed to pick up the Britannica's encyclopedia, the first one, which is indexation. You needed to see, okay, floxinoxin amplification is a word, so you need to go to W. Okay, I need to see where is the word, the section for words. Then you go there, pick up the book, then open floxinoxin amplification under F, and then read the meaning. That entire thing took a day. But for them today, it's just a 15-second activity. You see how it is transformed for them? So they want to see instant results. They are not willing to give it a day. So in this journey, if you start micromanaging them, you look at them under the lens, they're going to disappear. They're going, you know what, I don't like this person. Somebody says it's like I'm working with my children. It is true. You are working with children. But those children who can be our parents at times. As they say, child is the father of man sometimes. Jagdish Chandra Bose, by the way. Okay, I'm going back to the slides. Brilliant. All right. So now let's go into the key concepts. So the first concept that we need to understand is interconnectedness. How are things connected? You need to understand how things get connected, because that will tell you how do you ensure that there is synthesis among them. What is it that needs to be done so that the machine becomes well oiled and it can work in let us say friction on a frictionless surface. Keep a feedback mechanism. And feedback sometimes as a leader is for us to listen. Many leaders do not ask the question, okay, tell me, what do you have as feedback for me? And if you're scared, if I ask this question, if this person slaps me on the face, I'm so damn scared. So you don't ask the question. And sometimes you create so much of a mayhem and terror within the team that even if you ask that question, they all say, very good, you're a nice person. But inside, the person will be saying, I wish I could kill this person. The next time I see this person on the road and I'm driving my car, I will run my car over them. So these type of leaders are also there. I'm not saying that we are all that type, but yes. But if you want to have feedback coming in, genuine feedback, you need to have an extremely warm, an extremely cordial, open door policy. The next one is you talk about causality, the cause and effect mechanism. And last not the least is look at the various models under which your system is operating. What design changes can you make and how can you transform it? So once you have done this, believe me, you have a rather sturdy system, because now it will help you identify all the challenges in the form of a root cause. It will give you a root cause analysis, which will be picture perfect. You will be able to anticipate all the possible consequences and challenges that you'll come across. Number three, you'll be able to leverage those areas which are known as quick kills. So those areas, now I gave you a quick kill for a Gen Z is shorten their time and give them more milestones. When it comes to improvement in collaboration because people start talking to each other. You see that there is interaction. They are understanding processes. They're understanding policies and procedures. It becomes a little more better. And last not the least is you move from just being effective to becoming great. And there is a third level to this, from effectiveness to greatness, and then building to last. I'm drawing this directly from Jim Collins. So you move from effectiveness to greatness, and from greatness to building to last. And that is how you become an extremely good leader. As I said, leaders are not ones who do not have teams. A person without a team is a leader only with the word leader. He has no people, or she has no people with them. Leaders are people who have people with them. So in this journey, there are ideally 8 types of leaders that you can come across. Now, this is where I want you to do a little bit of study for yourself. You have to find out what type of a leadership style you have, because if you are not able to understand what type of leadership style you have, you cannot think systems. So I'll tell you why. So there are typically 8 types of leaders in the world. The first leader is an autocratic leader. Who's an autocratic leader? An autocratic leader will just allow things to follow the process. My way. I believe this is how it should be. And they will start defining the process. The second one is a bureaucratic leader. Paperwork. Will have leaders after leaders. Will have huge teams, huge number of people. The third type of a leader is a democratic leader. And democratic leader is the one who loves to keep everybody happy. The fourth type of a leader is a dictatorial leader. Now, you must be wondering, why have I put an autocratic leader and a dictatorial leader separately? The reason is that a dictatorial leader is more extreme as compared to an autocratic leader. An autocratic leader will say that in fact, this is the process and I define the process. The dictatorial leader will say, this process is being defined by me, and if you cannot follow it, get lost. I don't care. So the attitude of I don't care comes in. The next leader is a laissez-faire kind of a leader. A laissez-faire leader is somebody who allows the team to take decisions. Very, very difficult area to be in, a very difficult zone to be in. And this is among the highest levels of leadership that somebody can achieve. The next one is a transformational leader. Somebody who believes in creating more leaders. So between, let us say, between an autocratic or a bureaucratic or democratic dictatorial or laissez-faire leader, a transformational leader is one who's there in that journey, who's helping you or helping that individual to move from point A to point B to become a better individual. Then you have transactional leaders who only mean business. And last not the least is a servant leader. Now, if you look at the entire chart, the last part is what Toastmasters speaks about, servant leader. They don't talk about the other 7. That's because servant leader is the hardest leadership style to be adopted by anybody. In servant leaders, you are there only to serve the team. The word I'm using with great responsibility is serve the team. The difference between a laissez-faire leader and a servant leader is a laissez-faire leader, the team takes decisions and the leader only supports. Whereas here, the teams take the decision and the leader only serves them for the better. That's it. That means the area director or the division director or the district director is far lower than your members. How often does it happen? How often does it happen that you have one of the district trios coming into your room and the president or the person who's speaking will say, ladies and gentlemen, among us is this dignitary of the day. At times I ask myself, what is so great at being at that role, at that level? Ideally, they are there to serve us. As a member, I am supposed to be having more respect. You recognize me first, then them. So I'll pick up on a story. and I'm sure Jyotika will remember this story because this is pre-COVID. There was this one gentleman by name, I think his name was Balraj, yes, Balraj Arnasalam, who came in from Sri Lanka, who was the international president, past international president, and he came into Dubai, and we had a fantastic convention at that time. One of the incidents that he mentioned was he was in Australia, and when he went to this particular meeting, I'm going to stop sharing my screen because I want to see all of you. So in one of the meetings that he went to, one of the clubs, the club meeting was on, and he just walked in and he went and sat at the back, right at the back of the club, that some chairs were empty. The meeting went into a break. Everybody broke into the break. They had their refreshments. They came back. The meeting continued. And right at the end, when the meeting was getting over, that's when the president came in during the business session and said, ladies and gentlemen, among us today is the international president of Toastmasters. Now, why did he do that? But when we asked Balraj, did you feel bad about it? He said, I have no right to feel bad about it because it is the members who are first. And he made this one fantastic statement. He said, I am a member first and then any other role that I have in Toastmasters. So that means, I'm going to share screen again. That means, give me a moment. That means in the Toastmasters universe, whatever the role may be, in the club, you have the president, you have the vice president, education, you have the vice president membership, you have the VPPR, you have the treasurer, you have the sergeant at arms, you have the immediate past president. And by the way, the VPPR is missing on this, so that's a typing error from my side. All of these people are there only and only to support one person, and that is the member. They are there only to support the member. That's number one. When you look at the area director, the assistant area director PQD, the assistant area director CGD, and the area secretary are there only and only to support whom? The clubs. And in turn, they are supporting the member. When you go a little bit higher, you have the division. The division team is there only and only to support the area and the clubs, and in turn, the member. When you look at the district, so in the district, you've got the district director, the PQD, the CGD. I'm sure all of you all know this. We have the admin manager, you have the PR manager, the finance manager. All of them are there to support the division, the area, and the club, which is in turn the member. Let's understand this. The district is not above the division or above the area and above the club. The club is above the area, is above the division, and above the district. If you invert this pyramid, believe me, the concept of servant leader has been lost. It's operation successful, patient dead. It's committing blasphemy of that entire institution of servant leadership. Then you have the regional advisors, and you have the international directors. Last not the least is your board. In the board, you have the international president, you have the international president-elect, you have the vice president, second vice president. Now, all of them who are there in the board are there to support the region, who in turn will support the district, the division, the area, the club, and ultimately the member. That is why the entire journey of the member is piloted by the headquarters. So this is the vehicle. These are the drivers, and this person is the passenger. Let's understand that very clearly. The world headquarters is the vehicle, the car or the bus. These are the drivers. And here is the passenger. I'm going to stop sharing. How often does it happen on a flight? How often does it happen on a flight that you are given hopeless seats, and the pilot is sitting on the most comfortable seat?
Rare.
Anybody? Rare. You've gone in buses. How often have you seen that the seats of the passengers are extremely poor, all bench seats made of wood, ply, whereas the seat of the bus driver, or let us say the owner of the bus, is the most comfortable? Have you seen that?
It's simple. If you have a very comfortable seat, even for a commuter, it's going to be extremely expensive. But if you have a bad seat for your driver, your safety is at jeopardy. You have to make sure the conductor or the person doing the job is always the most comfortable so that it is
The
convenient
passengers are
for the rest
comfortable.
of the people there.
Yes. So if you as leaders in the club, in the area, in the division, in the district, in the region, and in the board are not able to give the member that comfort, those members are going to leave our bus. I'm sorry to say this. Now you see where the attritional problem is. That means at the end of the day, we are here only and only for our members, for our clubs. And by the way, I must tell you this. About 40 years ago, in the 1990s, Toastmasters never had the concept of division director and district director. Even though it was there, it was a very small piece. The member was the most important. Today, somewhere we are starting to say, you know what, leadership is more important than the member. And that's when the member starts to feel lost. When I look at the recent trend of how people behave in some of the districts, it is heart-wrenching, must I say. Because one of the biggest, I remember DTM Leo D'Souza, Jyotika, you would remember DTM Leo D'Souza, and he told me once, the biggest secret of a servant leader is putting members' requirements first before their own. And systems thinking is all about looking at that. When you look at the bigger picture, when you look at how is it affecting everybody else in the bargain, not you. And leadership is all about giving, not taking. If it comes to you, you are in a fantastic zone. If it doesn't come to you, you cannot feel bad about it. How many parents here, how many parents in this audience here? I believe that the greatest leaders in the world are our parents. How many parents in this audience here expect our children to take care of them when they are old? We don't. If we get it, great. If we don't get it, you don't complain. Is it that when the child is born in the operation theater, you go and slap the child and say, okay, you have to take care of me because I brought you into the world? That's not possible, right? Leadership is giving and not expecting. And that is servant leadership, ladies and gentlemen. And that is why this hierarchy is made in this way. I remember that presentation by when the president actually speaks and addresses the audience. There is this pyramid which says that the member is right at the top. So true. The member is at the top. You and I, in this journey, it's the we, have to work towards how members can see value in that journey. When we see value in this program, I'm sure when Jyotika started this program, when we had this conversation about 3 or 4 months ago, she said, you know what, Hari, I want to add value to this program. And the moment you use the word value, itself means that it cannot be quantified by money. When you add value, you automatically are adding intangible amount of experience to that particular concept. So we as leaders have to give them that value. And that is why this structure is inverted. Remember, the district is below the division, is below the area, which is below the club. And let me leave you with one last one. I remember in one of the clubs, in Jyotika will know this, in one of the clubs in Dubai, there was a resolution passed that the division director should not come into the club for any meeting in the entire 26 meeting term. So that means the club can pass a bylaw which can ensure that nobody from the top can visit that club. You must be shocked by when I said this. So systems thinking is not about thinking only about myself. I'm saying it again. It's about thinking of the larger picture. And here the larger picture is the member. Now here is where I'm going to stop and ask you. I want you to think, imagine a club, the 7 members who are there in the team. If you were to give me a good example of how these 7 members function, what is that one image that comes to your mind? 7 members functioning in tandem. What is that one image that comes to your mind?
Rainbow.
Rainbow.
Rainbow. Anybody else? Very nice one. Anybody else? Anybody else? I want you to think like this. Okay. So when I was doing once an installation, Olympians, when I was doing an installation and I was thinking, how should I do it? I wanted to do it a little differently. So I said, okay, imagine the human body. We start with the sergeant at arms, the hands and the legs of the club. The one who does the hard work, who does the heavy lifting, arranges the meeting room, arranges the entire decor, everything, food, the refreshments, all of it is done by the legs and the hands. That is the sergeant at arms. Next you have is the treasurer. The treasurer is the one who ensures that the club is alive because she brings in the money. And the money is nothing but the blood that is running in our veins. So the treasurer is the blood. Next comes your secretary. Your secretary is your eyes and ears because she is recording everything and feeding it to the entire body. Then comes your VPPR. Your VPPR is your skin, the looks. She ensures that the world outside sees you in a particular way. Then you have the VP membership. Your VP membership is your lungs. She is the one who is ensuring that your air is purified and is going into the blood properly, which will keep the body alive. Your VP education is the heart. She is keeping the club moving. And the president is the brain. If the brain dies, the entire body dies. That's why usually when presidents leave the club is struggling. When the heart stops, the club is literally in ICU. How often does it happen that the VP education does not do something and the club is struggling? The VP membership is not good enough. You're not able to take enough amount of oxygen. You go into the ICU because your lungs are collapsing. Your treasurer is not having enough money because club members are not coming in. So if you look at the human body, can you say that the brain is more important than the heart, which is more important than the lungs, which is more important than the skin, and more important than the blood, and more important than the hands and legs? You cannot. Tomorrow, if the hands and legs say that I'm not going to work, the body will sit where it is, everything will stop. So every part is as important as the other. And the end goal or the vision is sustenance or living that life. So all these 7 roles, for me, looks like the human body. You can have various examples. You can have the rainbow, nothing wrong in it. But this is how I felt and looked at it. And even today, when I go for an installation, this is how I install the entire 7 members of that particular club. Yeah. So that draws me nearly to the end of the presentation. Any thoughts, any questions that you may have, happy to take it. I think I am 5 minutes. Still have about 4 minutes to go before I close, before I can hand over to Jyotika. Any other questions that you may have, any views, any thoughts, any questions, happy to take it.
I like the way you summarize why the Toastmasters is. It's a servant leadership and it's all about members. And this is the first time in 2.5 years, close to 3 years now, that I've ever seen any member or any person at a higher level has come up and said what is Toastmasters is all about. So I just love the whole explanation. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it thoroughly, Ashima. Thank you so much. Anybody else? Any other thoughts? Any other thoughts, comments, feedback? Happy to take it.
Hello to DTM Hari. Like initially, when we got to know that organizational awareness is the topic for this week, I did go through some other links as well, other than the handout that was given. So there it was quite hard for a person who is emerging as a leader. But your session was completely relatable to anyone. Even I think we have a lot of youngsters, even Gen Zs in the leap. And I'm sure that everyone would have grasped the idea of what you conveyed because it was a very much relatable, all your examples. And I feel there is no words, no adjectives to express how this session is beneficial in relational management. Thanks to you and thanks to the entire team for making this.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. In fact, Jyotika is the one who got me into this. Confess must I. Anybody else? Jyotika, I have got 2 more minutes. You want me to use that completely and then hand it over to you?
You can, Hari. Go ahead.
I have 2 more minutes. I'm happy to take those 2 minutes. Any other feedback, any other thoughts, any other comments? Happy to take it.
I'd just like to say one thing.
Yes, Hari.
You covered a lot of factors here. It's the human aspect, the technical aspect, the anthropological aspect, like general human nature versus what actual human nature is. Like generally, everybody believes if you take an organization, the highest degree always goes to the division, district, etc. But here, the inverted pyramid structure, what you brought towards making people understand how specifically the system actually works rather than just understanding what the system is. I was very beautifully crafted, and I felt that was kind of need of the hour for a lot of people who are observing these changes. Initially, considering when back in the conventional Toastmasters paradigm, if you take what you say makes a lot of sense because people treated people as what they were and the value of the learning was equally reflected. But today, once the system changed the pathways, everybody just got into a form of rat race. Everybody just wants to uh, get it over with as soon as possible rather than understanding what's the human aspect behind doing each of these projects here. So I believe the version of you that you have created today is very clear and evident for people to understand and accept also at the same time. So thank you for having such an amazing session.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. One more minute. And then I'll hand it over to Jyotika.
The handout.
Oh, yes.
Handout,
yes.
There was some mention about the SWOT analysis, where we have to use the SWOT analysis.
Okay. Now, there are 3 things I would, in fact, I don't know if Jyotika wants to take that, but I request you to do this. I want you to, if possible, whenever you get time, try and find out what type of leader you are, first of all. So you can apply a Johari window on yourself so you know what type of leader you are. Now, as a leader, you need to know what characteristics you have, what personality types you have. So do an MBTI, or you can do a DISC. It will tell you what type of person you are. Post that. Post you have done that. Then you have to do the third exercise of finding out the strengths and weaknesses that you have and the strengths and weaknesses of the team. Now, this is the most important aspect. Your weakness should be somebody else's strength. Somebody else's weakness has to be your strength, because a weakness can never become a strength. Your weakness will always remain a weakness. All you could do is strengthen your strength so much that your weakness gets overshadowed. So ideally, this should be the course of identifying how you can become a better leader, because then you start seeing trends coming out, and then you know your areas of improvement and areas of focus for the team as well. I hope that's answered your question. Jyotika, I don't know if you have a different roadmap, but I leave that. Pradnumna, you have raised your hand.
So you said our weakness should be the other person's strength. So what
Yes.
if that person becomes threat?
Rule number one, in the world of leadership, there is no threat. Managers feel threatened. Leaders don't feel threatened. Leaders feel happy when their position is threatened. Let me ask you this question. I am sure there are a lot of leaders in this group here. How many times does it happen that you or your team member comes to you and says, "Can you give me a promotion this year?" How do you take a call of whether to give that person a promotion or not? Or when should you ask for a promotion? So somebody asked me this question when I was in one of the corporates and I was training the top leadership. They said, how do we decide when to give a person leader? When do we give a person a promotion? So I said, very simple. Does the person have a team? Yes. Send this person on leave for 30 days. 30 days. It's their 30 days leave. When that person is on leave, how many times has the team got in touch with that person, with the leader when he or she is on leave? If the answer is once, twice, 10 times, 50 times, 100 times, I don't care. This person does not deserve a promotion. The person deserves a promotion only and only when the leader goes on leave and this person is not contacted ever in those 30 days. That means he or she is now replaceable. The moment you are replaceable, you have built leaders in the team who can take the journey ahead, who can take the team forward. That means you can move to the next level. Until that moment, you continue in that role. So that means there is no threat. This is something that is always going to come up. A person can get fired at any point in time. Let's understand this. One of my mentors, when I was in Standard Chartered Bank, told me that you get fired 3 times in your life. The first time is 10 years into your career, when your job becomes redundant. The second one, usually about 10 years before your retirement. And third is when you retire. So if you have a 30-year career, you will have at least 1 or 2 times that you're being fired. One is when you lost it in the middle, or in the middle you lost it twice and then you retire. This will happen. And trust me, this is going to happen more often with AI and all this new technology that's going to come. I do not want to go into that area because then it's opening a different discussion. Anyhow.
So DTM Hari, like you mean to say, okay, we have empowered people. By then we should also move on with new strengths.
Yes.
Okay.
You know what? This is, my father told me this, and my mother echoed it a few years ago to me. She said the greatest gift that a leader can have is not to lead, but the greatest gift a leader can have is to know when to let go. Because you may be leading great teams, but if you don't know when to let go, then that becomes a little problematic. Yes, Warren.
Hi, Hari. Hari, I had a question on you said Toastmasters and division directors attending the meetings and all that. Ours is a online meeting usually, and we do have people, district directors, and everybody coming into the meeting, and abruptly the meeting stops just to welcome these people. how do we change that mindset? And I know we have people here from Toastmasters, DTMs, and all that, but then shouldn't we giving them also a training, or are we offending them if we don't address them first? That is what the idea is, because we have been told address them first, then continue with your meeting.
Rule number 1, your member is the most important. Don't do anything that the member actually feels let down. Did you recognize me in the meeting? The answer is yes. Will you stop the meeting for me? If the answer is no, you have no right to stop the meeting for anybody else. Let me put this up very bluntly. Let me ask you this question as well. So you said you have a lot of these DTMs in the room. Do you know what's the full form of a DTM? It's not distinguished Toastmasters. It's do titles matter? Do titles really matter? I know several DTMs, I know several area directors, division directors, district directors who can't string 5 sentences properly. Even when they speak, they've got spelling mistakes. I'm sorry to say this. Come on. You command respect. You don't demand it. The moment you say, you know what, when that person comes in, I will stop the meeting halfway and then recognize the person. The person is not some celebrity to be recognized. She has been elected by one of us and among us. We elected them up. We voted for them. So are you trying to tell me that they're bigger than us? We are bigger than them because we casted that vote. This is not the Indian democratic system where when the Prime Minister or the Chief Minister walks in, we all stand up and bow down and clap. Trust me, even in India, you don't have to do it. We are not following a dictatorial leadership path. No, it doesn't. And when you say that they have to be trained, the answer is yes. It's a culture shift. It's a thorough culture shift.
Excuse me, can I say something here? If that training has to be given, then I think it has to be done at the training for the leaders, because what they tell us is that we have to follow protocol. And that is the protocol they expect us to follow.
So here's the most important. Protocol is something different. Let's understand. What's protocol? Protocol is laid down rules and regulations. Show me one rule and regulation which says in the Toastmasters bylaws, which says that in case that a dignitary walks in, she should be respected or should be, let us say, should be recognized. I'm not in fact, honestly speaking, I know this can go on until the camels come home. But this is what I believe. And this is what is a fact. Members come first. I leave it there. Keep that in mind and move forward. That's it.
Thank you.
I'm over 9 minutes on time, Jyotika.
No worries, you still have time till 9:30. That's what it is. I think you're the first one who's finished before time. So thank you very much, Hari. If there are any questions, you may come forward now. Hari is still here. Otherwise, we can move towards the closing. Is there anyone who has some question here? Has no
Hari.
question?
Yeah. So this is Ram Prasad. So you have mentioned your father many times. I wanted to know how your father has impacted. Is a mentor or he's a professor?
See, my father retired as the director of operations for Sesagoa, which is now Vedanta. So he used to be managing a team of close to about 7,000 odd people. And I have seen him struggle because when he finished his IIT in Chennai and started working, I know he started off from a very low level. And I know that hardship he has gone through in his journey because he was an extremely, must I say, blunt person when it came to communication. Blunt to the extent that he has even told his boss, I don't care how you feel, but this is how it's going to be done. So I've heard him, I've seen him actually going through hard times. And a lot of the learning that I have today when it comes to lot of these training sessions that I do on how you need to behave as a leader is a lot of learning that I've taken from his behavior and the amount of attitude that I had when I came in. I used to be an extremely brash personality. I didn't care. I used to be extremely proud, unto the extent that my father had to clip my wings several times to become the person whom I am today. So he's not only been a mentor, but he's been a brilliant leader. Fantastic leader.
Yeah, fantastic to know. Thank you.
Our parents are the best leaders, trust me.
Yes.
There cannot be better leaders than them.
Thank you, Hari. Yeah, glad to know.
Hari, I have a question. Since you said, right, see the gear, the whole system, then the interconnected elements and the relationship. And I love the way your father said, you are not paid for being an executor. You should be have the vision. And so how will I know, like, how should I explore what is there in the emerging patterns? Is it focusing on people or what is my business? So where should I focus on? Because to manage the day-to-day, the execution, it eats up my time, almost 90%. So to focus on self-learning or to focus as, see, I love to be a visionary leader, but to manage conflicts and day-to-day things, just eat up my time.
Okay, so 80-20 would be the principle that you should look to follow. So today, 80% of your time is eaten up by 20% of the activity or that 20% of the results that are going to come in. You ideally have to flip that over. That's going to be a hard one. So what we need to remember is this. For being a visionary leader, you need to think on three aspects. One, organization's goal or the journey that the organization or where do they want to go to. Two, who are going to be in that journey. So people. And number three, what are your external factors? And this third one, this one, the external factors, is the hardest one to do. So you need to have a lot of reading, a lot of understanding of the competition, understanding what's happening around in the environment. So possibly some amount of pestle study will be needed. If you do your pestle and you've done your SWOT on the side, you know exactly what to do.
Yeah, thanks, Hari. That was a concise and something with simple words. Thank you. Any more
Anything
questions?
Else?
All right, Hari. I think we are right. Thank you very much. And such a powerful and an enriching session. And you deserve a very, very big, huge round of applause. Please unmute yourself and let's give a huge shout out to Hari for the excellent
Fantastic session.
Thank
you, Hari.
Awesome
It was
session.
wonderful.
Thank you so much,
Awesome.
Hari. Wonderful session.
Thank you so much.
Fantastic.
Appreciate it, Hari. Thank you so much.
Now, I love the way Hari has given a fine balance or maintained a fine balance between theory and practice. He's answered his questions. The answers to the questions were brilliant, Hari. I have so much I've written down so many things. And I must say, you are a master speaker. No wonder you're a champion at whatever you do, whether it's evaluation, table topics, everything. He's been a district champion. So, and I must add here, while he spoke about his dad, his mom is a doctor, medical doctor. She's an MBBS graduate of those times who actually did not pursue her career for the betterment of the children. And I know her closely, and that's the reason I can speak about her. And I'm so proud that she has a son like you. Thank you, Hari. Fantastic. Now, Hari spoke about so many things, and even our cohort, I'm so proud of our cohort today, that the questions that they asked were so enriching that really brought in the shape and defined this entire session. And so brilliant hats off to you all, the questions that you all have put across. Please continue this, because this is the thirst and hunger that you need to have, or you must have, in order to help others grow as well through your experiences. Now, I think Pradyumna asked, leaders getting threatened, and I think Hari answered it very, very well. So one tip from my side is that, which I really follow, is that if you are threatened as a leader, you're not investing enough on your own growth. So please continue to invest, and LEAP is one of those programs that you continue investing so you can become a better leader.
Hari, I'm still going back and I'm still zapped. I'm wondering which dictionary should I refer to get the spelling of floxinoxyplification. All right. I don't know what it means, but it's only you. It can only come from you. I really don't know if that's a word, but I take you at face value that is a word. So someone can Google and find out what this word is because I really didn't understand.
It sounded like Shashi Tharoor.
Yeah, Shashi
Yeah.
Tharoor
That
has
word.
called that word.
Exactly.
Floxinoxyhilicification.
I don't even know what I'm saying. Floxinoxyplif. I don't know what it is, Hari.
Floxinoxyniplification.
Okay. Whatever it is, I hope the meaning is not longer than the word.
No, it's worthless.
Okay, fine. All right. Now I'm truly happy today. I say this at every session, but what makes me even happier is when the objectives are set. The objectives are set with a vision. There is an outcome that I plan, and that's what I want to achieve at the end of the session. And today I think I've achieved more than the outcome that I wanted to achieve. And I'm so glad that Toastmasters came at a juncture where many of you did not really understand the bigger picture. And probably this session has helped you to get much more clarity of where you stand as leaders. Because as we move forward, we will have to plan our future course of action as leaders. It could be in your organization, in Toastmasters, but when you do it, you have to do it with self-awareness, being aware rather than someone pushing you into the leadership role. And that's how you can become a good leader. So I'm so glad that we met the objectives of this session. The entire month is going to be filled with organizational awareness. And to answer someone's question, SWOT, again, Hari has answered the question. Yes, indeed, the SWOT analysis is just to understand your perspective of where your team stands, where your organization stands. So pick up a department, pick up your organization, or even a Toastmasters club for that matter, and try to analyze to see, is there a problem? Is there something that your members can benefit? How is the functioning of your club or your department? Is there some loose gaps that are there that could be filled? So do the SWOT analysis and see. And I agree with Hari. The objective is to help that organization, your department, do better, your team do better. So please. So wonderful. Thank you very much. And Hari, please accept a small token of appreciation from our side, as it's a gratitude, and to say thank you for the efforts that you have put in. You're a very busy person, I know that, but thank you very much. This comes from our district director, Distinguished Toastmaster Gokul P. Menon, District 121, and myself, as well as the team of Leap 3.0. Everybody says thank you. Thank you very much. All right. So next week, as usual, we will be having our session, which is going to be a peer huddle. But before that, I'll hand over the session to Daryl, who will have a few things to say. And we also have to acknowledge our leaders of last month with a picture and a shout out. Over to you, Daryl. And we also have a picture, first picture.
Right. Yes. So everybody, this is your cue to come on video.
Please switch on your videos. Hari, switch on your video.
Right. All right. Everybody smile. Right. So first, right. So good evening, everybody. I know it's almost time to end, but I'm saying good evening for the very first time to all of you today, considering I couldn't make it on time. So thank you, Akhil, for stepping in and opening today's meeting. Let me quickly share my screen and show you what is expected. But before that, hearty congratulations and a warm welcome to level 4 of Leap 3.0. We have reached December, the last month in the year, but our 4th level has kick-started today. Let me now share my screen and present to you the week forward. Right, so the very first task is your post-session assignment, which is the SWOT assessment of, like Jyotika mentioned, your organization, your club, or your team. I must give a shout out here to Renu and of course Jyotika, who worked on the session material because they have clearly mentioned how to do it. There are 4 steps detailed there where you observe the system at a surface level. So you could observe your attendance pattern, the member engagement, operational performance, and things like that. Identify those patterns and trends. When you see those trends, ask yourself questions. Does it happen repeatedly? Are there recurring challenges or successes? Then map the structures and processes where you go a little more detailed into the structure. And then, of course, surface the mental model. So it's very clearly explained to you in your post session in the handout. So please go through that. And of course, work on it and submit it to your mentors by December 7th, that is Sunday. I hope all of you are on track with your individual projects. We are currently in that particular phase where you submit that 1-page project brief to your mentor. So please do submit it by December 7th. And I will share a link with the mentors where they can upload it so that we receive it by December 7th. Like I mentioned before, during the last session, please please remember that these deadlines we're going to follow these deadlines per se. So do not fall short of submissions here. December 8th to January 7th is your timeline to execute your particular project. You can track your progress and the outcomes. So wish you all the best as you kickstart your project during the course of next week, Monday onwards. I'd also like to highlight that we have finalized the dates for your project presentation, but we will notify you very shortly, probably in the next 2-3 days. So watch out for that space as well to keep yourselves free on that day. Well, like we always do, post your reflection on the session conducted today and share your thoughts and appreciation for our trainers and mentors on our Leap 3.0 LinkedIn page. I've shared the feedback form in the Zoom chat. I will share it in our community as well, but sorry for the typo. Please fill it in by December 7th, that is Sunday, not 30th November. All right, apologies from my end. Now, Leap 3.0 is the third version of Leap, but it's happening for the very first time like this. And of course, we give you an experience of being mentored as well through the process. But we want to enrich that experience. And so I have shared a mentor assessment form with all of you. I have received 33 responses, 23 are yet to fill it in. So please fill it in by tonight. It'll be easier. So one task completed. But please go to my personal chat and the form is there in the message along with you. Please do fill it in by tonight. And with that, let's now give a huge shout out to our team leaders for November. Let's play a memory game. And if you are here in the room, please come on video. You can raise your hand and we'll click a group picture as well. So group 1, we had Joel, who was the team leader. And yes, you can applaud for our team leaders, all right? So Joel from group 1. Group 2, we had Devsha. So Devsha, if you're here, please raise your hand. Group 3 was Julia. Group 4, Supriya. Group 5 was Shilpa. Group 6, we had Sajid. Group 7, Yamuna. Group 8, Sibaram. And group 9 was Lata. All right, a huge round of applause to all our team leaders. Everybody smile. Thank you. So once again, a huge round of applause for our team leaders for November and wishing the team leaders for December the very best for this month. With that, thank you so much, and back to our lead chair, distinguished Toastmaster Jyotika.
So thank you very much. I don't have much to say. All I'm saying is that this was a fantastic session. I know you all have enjoyed because I've seen the interaction in the team. So let's get prepared for the next session. But for now, y'all can have fun, have good dinner, sleep well, stay safe, and we'll meet next Wednesday for the peer huddle. Don't forget about your individual projects. Please, this is a part of your it's a criteria that you have to complete the project, the program. So please take it a little more seriously and complete it. And I'm sure you'll have already started working on it. It's very simple. The idea is to make it a part of your daily practice and not just an individual project for 30 days. So thank you very much. And let's meet next Wednesday. Until then, stay safe, Sleep well and good night.
Good night.